Morning, everyone. It's Joe Waxman, and I'm back with another video. This morning, I would like to look at the chart of famous actor Jack Nicholson. Yeah, let's just get right into it. I don't really have much to say. I mean, he's a well-known actor. He got his start in I think his first film was Easy Rider. Yeah. And then he's 12 Academy Award nominations, The Shining, Batman. I mean, he's been in a lot of really big movies. Okay. He was born April 22nd, 1937, 11 a.m. in Neptune, New Jersey. Okay, he's got his sun in Taurus, and it's super prominent, right? It's right at the beginning of Taurus in the 10th house, fully visible, like right overhead in the sky when he was born. And it's conjunct Uranus, and this is very shocking. Sun conjunct Uranus is a very dynamic, powerful personality. I mean, I love Uranus. Uranus is the planet that I have on my ascendant, and it's shocking. It's dynamic. It's explosive. It's out of the box. It's revolutionary. It's independent. It's rebellious, and it creates such an expansive awareness. I love it. In Taurus, it's a little dense. It's not going to be as like dynamic as it would be, say, in Scorpio, but Uranus is Uranus no matter what. And in Taurus, here we're getting a lot of creativity, so it's just making him this very creatively dynamic, brilliant kind of person, right? In the 10th house, and this is super prominent because the sun is also his ascendant lord, right? Ascendant in Leo, and ascendant in Leo is a great ascendant. I love ascendant in Leo because they're just they just shine. They shine. It's a very shiny ascendant, one of the most powerful ascendants. And for anything like acting or performing or being on the stage, being in the presence of like having other people giving you attention, being in front of a crowd. It's excellent. That's what it's built for. It's built for fame and recognition and all that. So yeah, sun in the 10th house, I mean, it's going to launch him into career success and recognition. His moon is in Virgo in the 3rd house. 3rd house is tremendous for actors, right? Because it's the house of communication, of the intellect, skills of the hands, but just communication in general. And then it's in Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and then again, Mercury is here in Taurus. In the 10th house, well, 11th house cusp, but so career, the success of the career, groups, networks, popularity, career success. Okay, and it's also it's trine. It's basically trine the moon. Yep, we got a nice trine here between basically a grand trine. I mean, there's a little space here in between Neptune and moon, but this is basically a grand Earth trine between Jupiter, Moon, and Mercury. And Neptune is a little wide in there, but still. And that's excellent, right? That's excellent for the moon because moon is in positive aspect, trining its dispositor, Mercury. And in the sign of its own exaltation, moon is exalted in Taurus, and Mercury is exalted in Virgo. So that's actually a really nice combination. And then we also get Jupiter trining Moon, and Jupiter Moon connections, especially positive ones, the trine, conjunction, or sextile, are excellent, right? Because Jupiter gets exalted by Moon. Jupiter is not in a good sign, it's in Capricorn, but it is making this really nice trine to Moon. Moon loves Jupiter, Jupiter loves Moon. And yeah, and so that's excellent, right? This grand Earth trine makes them very practical, grounded, and earthy. Okay. Let's see, Venus, he has some not great planets here. I mean, by not great, I mean Venus is in detriment in Aries, and Jupiter is debilitated in Capricorn. And so Jupiter is basically in the 6th house, but it's coming very close to the 7th house. Jupiter is not great. And this negatively affects his faith, because Jupiter and Saturn both, Saturn's in the 9th house, and Jupiter represents the faith, the optimism, the wisdom. He said he doesn't believe in God, right? So we can see that his faith, in his religious faith, is marred. And not just religious faith. I'm not religious, but I do believe in God. So like his spirituality, right? His ability to connect to the higher power is marred. His faith in the higher wisdom is marred, because Jupiter is debilitating Capricorn, although it does get a nice trine from Moon. So I think like somehow, like, even though he doesn't believe in God and he's not religious, he does have, like, somewhere underneath there is a connection to spirit, wisdom, truth, higher power. It's just that he's very stubborn about it and he won't admit it, and it's just kind of lurking underneath, because Jupiter is connected to the Moon. So I believe that there is still a connection to love and truth and wisdom, but Jupiter is in Capricorn, and then Saturn's in the 9th in Pisces, and Jupiter is also opposite Pluto. But when planets are out of dignity, there's a certain vibe that is like negative, and that's why he can play such a good bad guy, right? If this was exalted and all his planets were exalted, he wouldn't be able to play the bad guy. And there's something really nice about somebody who can play a bad guy, who's a convincing bad guy. And Jack Nicholson is a convincing bad guy. We really believe him. Somebody's got to do it, and it's going to be the person who's got the debilitated Jupiter, the debilitated Venus, the Saturn in the 9th, the Jupiter opposite Pluto. By the way, Pluto in the 12th is very destructive. And look at this. Look at this. Excellent. They call it a mystic rectangle, even though there's nothing mystic about it. It's just a really nice flow of planets that are in harmony with each other. Moon is opposite Saturn to the degree, 29 degrees, right? And then Pluto is opposite Jupiter to the degree, 26 degrees, right? Pluto opposite Jupiter is going to further damage this Jupiter, because Pluto in the 12th is destructive. Pluto in the 12th will require, that's a person. I have Pluto in the 12th. That's how I know. It's like that itch you can't scratch. It's going to drive a person into dark places, and the requirement, the need, is to become more spiritual. That's what Pluto in the 12th wants. It's like because Pluto is the farthest planet out there. It's the most spiritual. It's the most powerful in a deep way. And what it wants is that soul evolution. It wants you to become more evolved. And if you're not becoming more evolved, it's going to throw crisis into your life. It's going to, make you face death and pain and loss and troubles and addiction and chaos and obsession, and just like, it's going to destroy things if you don't pay attention to it. Pluto in the 12th will destroy, huge, portions of your life if you're not paying active attention to it. And opposite Jupiter, his faith in life, his Jupiterian, his luck, his ability to understand, wisdom, the higher power, everything, that's all in question with Jupiter there. And he better dig deep and look into his own being, his own soul, and turn it around and become, do some soul work, do some shadow work, become more spiritual, meditate. Otherwise, it's going to be a hugely destructive force in his life. It's disposited by the moon, and it's sextile the moon, so that's actually good for Pluto. That is an outlet. But moon is also opposite Saturn. It's really interesting. There was an issue with his mother. His mother was a showgirl, I think, and had him when she was 17. So he was actually raised by his mother's parents, so his grandparents. And he believed growing up that his mother was his sister because she was only 17 years older than him. He found out later that that's not the case. But moon opposite Saturn. Saturn often can represent grandparents. Saturn can represent older authority figures. So in this case, there's this relationship between moon, his mother, his grandparents, and then, it's also tied into Pluto and debilitated Jupiter here. Pluto's going to transform things. So it's just creating this, and the debilitated Jupiter, things just not great luck, not great fortune, misfortune. But, that's the way it goes. Moon is also planets that are opposite moon also describe relationships. And he was very notorious for not having stable relationships. Saturn is going to restrict and delay his relationships. Also a negative, the Venus not in dignity, in detriment, opposite Libra. Saturn's also ruling his 7th house. So again, relationships, limiting, delaying, and generally making relationships difficult and hard work. If Saturn was in better dignity, it's not in terrible dignity in Pisces, but it's neutral. I mean, it's not a great Saturn. It's not a terrible Saturn. But it is going to cause issues with relationships. And he had a bunch of relationships. He was explosive, and he did have a temper. And then we can see that with Mars. It's widely conjunct the North Node in the 5th house in Sagittarius. But there was an incident where he took a golf club to somebody's car over a traffic incident and beat the crap out of it. And then he lost in court. That's definitely relating to Mars and North Node, because that's just a very, and also Sun conjunct Uranus. Sorry, somebody's messaging me. That's very explosive. In the 5th house, though, it's quite good for performance, for creativity, and acting, obviously. South Node conjunct Chiron in the 11th. It's approaching the 12th. 12th house cusp is in Gemini. That's difficult. South Node conjunct Chiron is generally very difficult. And it's square Neptune. And so I think that relates to his childhood. It was a very unusual childhood, mainly due to his mother being his sister. Not really, but it was portrayed as his sister. It's unusual. I think Chiron relates to things that are very strange and odd and unusual and weird. So his childhood circumstances were very unusual. That's as much as I can say because I don't really know any more details about it. But Neptune is square the nodes. Exactly. And Neptune is in the second, approaching the third house cusp. So very much having to do with acting. Neptune is, film and film, photography, illusion, delusion, fantasy, glamour. And the dispositor is Mercury up to here in Taurus in the 11th house cusp. So career success. So this is very much having to do with a destiny around acting, around speaking. That's, not that I would know that automatically if I did not know that he was a famous actor, but putting two and two together, Neptune does relate to that. It's not great for finances, I can tell you that. I have Neptune in the second. Money can just slip away, fall away. Very generous with money. Might be overly generous, might be just too spaced out to deal with money. But it is moving into the third house, so it's dealing with expression as well, voice and expression. And like I said, third house cusp is in the 11th, so career success, very much so. And what else? I think that's pretty much it. It looks like from his chart, yeah, there's a lot of success, a lot of dynamic. I didn't really touch on this Venus. Let's see, it's fourth house. So rise to fame from early childhood, although it's not great dignity. So there was a slow rise to success. He did not have immediate success. He was in the film industry, and then he landed a role in Easy Rider. And yeah, but again, the debilitated planets help him, or in detriment, and debilitated Jupiter, detriment Venus, that helps him play the bad guy, the good bad guy. He's a good bad guy. And I don't know what he played. I don't know his role in Easy Rider, but I know like The Shining, like that was his one of, if not maybe his most successful role. And that's also the Uranus conjunct the sun, because that gives them that really, like, we're kind of taken aback. We're a little bit scared because like Uranus can have that. It's edgy. It's almost like, like Pluto is the deeply scary one, but Uranus is the shocking. It just, like, oh my God. It's just that kind of thing where he can just like explosive, and just like shock the crap out of you, like lightning bolt. And, that makes him very dynamic and powerful. Right. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like he's got some really, really powerful, dynamic, but kind of scary positions at the same time. He's a little bit scary, right? But definitely powerful and strong, amazing acting skills. And, he's definitely got the presence. So that's pretty much it. He's got nothing really outstanding in the declination or speed of planets. Pluto is just barely, it's just almost out of bounds, but Pluto is normally out of bounds. Yeah, he's got that explosive temper. But that's pretty much it for Jack Nicholson. Amazing bad guy. Actor in the movies. All right, guys. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And go to my website if you want to book a reading, macroastrology.com. And I will see you guys soon. All right, thanks. Bye.